Join us for the Business Leadership Series, where we sit down with leaders who are making an impact on their worlds. I'm your host, Eric Champagne.
The most important thing for anybody who wants to start out on their own is do the work.
A leader can't always be shoveling muck and mud.
Never underestimate the people in your community around you.
We're not learning these lessons, and these lessons are becoming painful because of poor operational security.
You don't really know anything as an entrepreneur until you actually get your product out there, so it can just be ripped apart.
Join us Sundays on this station at 9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Sarah, and we want to welcome you to Inside Out Studios.
Hey, I'm excited we have Jacob Phaneuf with us today. He's a founder of Inside Out Studios. Jacob, thanks for being with us.
Man, I've been a fan of the show for a long time. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, you helped us set up the studio too, so thank you for that. We don't pretend like we don't know each other. I appreciate you, man.
Hey, no problem, man.
Hey, you tell us about your business, and I think you just celebrated 10 years, right?
Yeah, with Inside Out Studio, it's in Northwest Arkansas here, and we do music lessons and artist development, recording and production, and we started out real small, just me teaching lessons, and 10 years later, a couple kids later, and we're still going, and we got 200 students and 13 teachers, and it's going great. I mean, it's going well, despite the circumstances.
Yeah, over 200 students. I want to talk about COVID. Over 200 students, 13 teachers. I know early on, I remember when you started the company, there's always people that encourage you, and then there's other people that go, that's not going to work, right? We all have our critics and our fans. We probably should listen to both a little bit, but did you know it would grow to over 200 students this big? I mean, you keep winning best of each year, like best of studio for teaching and all these other awards. What was your mindset when you started it, and how has it surprised you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when I started out, I'm a timid guy anyway. I'm a shy person, kind of an introvert naturally. And so I thought, oh boy, I'm going to make a brick and mortar place teaching music. I was 25 at the time. So really looking back, it's just a kid, just young enough to be dumb and old enough to someone take you seriously and let you rent out a place, if you will. And man, I thought about competing with these stores that I grew up going to and knowing these, teachers that were older than me, being a teenager at all the guitar shops around here. And it just it was fearful. But I just did it, and time, and when you stick with something long enough, things are bound to happen.
It is a persistence like that too, because if you think about it, but there's more than just that, because if you think about it, think of all the teachers. We grew up in the same area. I've had music teachers. I've been in music most of my life. And there's those teachers, they're not setting up their own schools. They're working for somebody else, or they're doing other jobs, and they teach out of passion. It's hard to make a living as a music teacher, especially in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah.
What else do you attribute to maybe being yes, you were smart enough and dumb enough to start it. I get that. That's me in most things I do. But what would you attribute maybe other secrets to success?
I got into the idea of quote business when I was in my early 20s. I have a psychology degree which clearly isn't very business oriented. And so just the idea of owning my own business, Robert Kiyosaki and, his second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, I really got into, which is, employee, self-employed, business owner, or investor. And you want to get on a certain side of the quadrant. And all those ideas were just like, I didn't learn about those growing up, and what was it? Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, old classic. I definitely give a lot of credit to those early books, just kind of changing my mindset. Like, I can, if I have a skill set and I stick to it and I deliver, I can do my own thing. And I just, like I said, I was young enough and dumb enough to give it a shot, and I just stuck with it. Yeah. And, man, it was a long, very difficult 5 years. I put my wife through hell,
Yeah.
And,
well,
for sure.
And this is your first business too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's tough sometimes, because I've done a couple. I've done a bunch, and I've failed at a few, and I've done okay at a few. you almost have to prove your track record for your spouse or for those around you for them to go, yeah, I get it. You know, this one may not work, but you'll land on your feet on the next one, or we trust that you have a process. But when you're doing your first one and you're expecting people to come along for the ride, I consult sometimes younger entrepreneurs and you're going, I say, you have to prove to your significant other first. You have to have a plan. You have to show them why and get ready for them to, you've got to bring them on the journey with you. They almost need more consulting than you do.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And you bring your in-laws along with you too. And you bring, you know, your friends along and I mean, they don't get it, you know, and that was a tough sell for a long time. And like you say, you know, time will kind of tell, and you kind of have to either prove it or figure something else out, or, you know, and so I'll be honest, I brought them through it too, you know, which wasn't easy for a long time.
No, it always looks good from the outside. And you know, but again, people will start to come along for the ride when you've made it a certain point, but you have to be ready to stick it out. And it's not even just the 2-year window anymore. It's longer than that.
Yeah.
I know the 10-year mark. I've jumped around to a lot of things. This is the only company that I've had, the Artist Evolution, that's been around more than 10 years. And I remember being excited getting the 10-year mark. And then I started doing podcasts and stuff and like, oh, here's how you make it through the first 10 years. And now I'm going to be a thought leader. And then suddenly the economy changed and some things happened in our industry. And I had to start over and go, wait, do I even want to do this? Do I have to keep building? I have to keep investing. I need to be passionate about what I'm doing. It's not just something I can set aside, the type of business I have. You can't just step out of yours and go, all right, that's just its own thing now. You're involved. How do you stay passionate and have purpose in what you're doing?
I mean, that's it. I mean, it's just every once in a while you just have to remind yourself, like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what I wanted to do. I mean, you just have to make it happen sometimes. You know, you just have to force yourself into that passion. And you know, you have good days, you have rough days. You know, there's no like making it over some non-existent happily ever after, you know, thing. It's a constant struggle, no matter what you're doing. You know, I mean, people can look at me and say, "Oh man, he gets to play music all day," and etc. And while that's true, it's still a job. Right. You know, it's still like how I put the beans on the table, as they say. And, you know, you just have to remind yourself as much as you can, like, hey, enjoy this as much as you can, you know, don't get lazy, you know, enjoy the process.
And I don't think you ever can get lazy with it. I think let's talk about like the quarantine thing here in just a minute. But if there was ever a reminder that we can't just rest on what we did in the past, this is it right now, because it's having everybody either be displaced or lose jobs or, you know, of no fault of their own. Businesses are going under. Look, that's the gloom and doom part. A lot are going to thrive, and new industries are going to emerge, and new opportunities. We know that it always happens in history if you look back. But what have you seen? Let's just transition to that now. What have you seen as far as, you know, you teach students, you have hundreds of students, you're a studio, you have recording artists coming in, you're doing projects, all kinds of projects. What's happened for you? Like, how did this quarantine disrupt the way you did business as usual? And then what are you doing going forward?
Well, that's a great question. You know, if you think about it, a lot of my students or clients are kind of that middle to middle upper class type families. So fortunately, a lot of them have been able to keep their job. You know, they're teachers or they're JB Hunt or Tyson, you know, and so I've been able to hold on to, you know, 80-90% of my students through all this. We've transitioned to like FaceTime lessons and like, you know, Zoom lessons. And honestly, it was pretty scary to think about offering that as a legitimate thing. Right. But really, like, kids are looking for something to do. Parents are thankful they don't have to leave the house. And, you know, they get off the phone with their music teacher, and it's kind of like they got to do something constructive and have that interaction with an adult that they're not having outside of their parents right now. Right. And honestly, it's gone better than I would have thought. You know, it's kind of, for a lot of people, as this has happened, it's kind of shown you a new way of potentially even offering, you know, services.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Going forward.
Do you see that happening? I was just thinking, I'm like, what? The challenge we had with my daughter getting piano lessons was trying to get across town on a busy school day. and then having to wait in the car till it was done, and then and it was just or we forgot the books, or this seems like a way to get more business going forward.
Yeah, it does, and especially seeing again that honestly people have kind of enjoyed it. I mean they miss that one-on-one, actually face-to-face, but I see it as a viable thing. Like I might be where I see in a month I might see them twice, and then maybe twice they stay home. Like you said, they don't have to fight the traffic. They don't have to remember the books. Right. They have that long day at school. Maybe they can just go home and like eat dinner and hop on the Zoom with me, and we jam right there from their bedroom. Yeah, I see it for sure. Kind of a change happening even after all this is over.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think I was thinking through. I was listening to an interview with it was at Yum Yum Brands, the CEO of that company. They have Dunkin' Donuts and other brands. He's saying they only took a small hit because 70% of their drive-throughs, or 70% of their businesses already had drive-throughs, so they had some foresight. I'm watching some construction go around in my driving, and I see some businesses going right now that are not changing right now, and I'm thinking, are you crazy? You need to put a drive-through in now. Halt construction, and don't finish the project. You're going into a post-quarantine world that could have quarantines happen again. Businesses now, I'm calling it the new strain of entrepreneurs, have to think all the time, how do we remove any obstacles, including quarantine, to get our product to our customers.
Right.
We don't have the luxury of going, those that think, we'll just go back to business as normal and I can't wait till this is done, I'm going to hunker down. That may happen, but I think that's a little bit idealistic. I think we're going to have a new mindset forever just because this has happened. It's going to be easier for it to happen
so
again.
too. Right? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And fortunately we live in this technology age where we can even do this, and it's just a different world. It's a different world than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah. I hate the loss and the hurting that's happening, but from an entrepreneurial standpoint, our business took a big hit, but I'm excited because I see the new opportunity. And as a studier of marketing and systems and the shifts that happen in cultures and demand, I like it, even when it's against me sometimes, just because it's interesting to see how things keep moving, things keep progressing. Anyway, technology was already disrupting things at lightning speed. Now we're embracing that technology at lightning speed in order to keep businesses relevant.
Yeah, we have to, right? Yeah. The entrepreneurs have to be creative, or like you said, they're gonna, you can't just shut your doors. We can't depend on that Trump check forever. Right.
Yeah. Hey, just a few minutes left. Tell me about, I want to hear an actual stories. Tell me some happy stories of either positive life change or kids taking lessons and thriving. Like, those are my favorite things. Music and seeing kids thrive are probably two of the biggest things that tug at my heartstrings. So in some ways I'm jealous but happy for you that you're doing what you're doing. But give us a couple stories that are inspiring.
I think the coolest thing at this point, 10 years later, as we were talking about, is seeing the kids grow up, where they were 7, 8. They were just little kids when they came to you, and here we are. They're graduating high school, they're in college, and you see the fruit of all that labor and all the hard work that they put into. And they're aspiring to be in jazz school in college, or play for their church. Like, one of my students is playing at Cross Church now, and that was like when I was a kid, I thought that was kind of the big time to play at a big church.
Right.
And he's going in there, and people are impressed by him. He's an awesome kid. I'm speaking of one kid in particular right now. And that's the dream for me, is, to see my students excel like that. Yeah. I mean, students are doing all kinds of things all over the community, and have been for years, at this point. It makes me so happy to think about that.
Yeah, I love that too. Tell me, we're going to show some kind of footage too in the video part of this interview about some of the things you're doing, but tell me like the live bands and the performances you do and things like that where kids get to music lessons. The traditional music lesson was pretty boring. I did my share of them. My favorite thing was I got to go to Musicians Institute in LA for a little while, that. And I got to go have live music, and your classes were actual live bands, and it interacted. The interaction changed. It became very real.
Yeah.
Tell me about things you're doing that are exciting where it's just different than a traditional music lesson.
Yeah, we try to do more communal type stuff. Like we've done like 4th of July community events where we have students go there and perform, and we work on it. Just a couple of weeks ago, we normally do little performances here at the studio where it's just a real intimate type thing where there's maybe just 12 performers. And there's, grandma and grandpa and stuff actually in my studio here. But we recently, since we weren't able to do that, we called it the Spring 2020 Quarantine Tour, where people sent us videos of them playing at their homes.
Nice.
And there ended up being like 50 kids that sent in videos. So we did this Zoom party where we premiered it at 7:00, last Friday night. Awesome. And we all got on Zoom and watched it together. And, it brings people together. It's not about competition. You know what I mean? Music to me isn't that, what are those competition music shows? Yeah. To me, music isn't competition. It's expression. It's art, it's an expression of the soul, and it needs to be treated like that, So
I've seen people forming bands together and things like that too of your students.
Oh yeah. A lot of times. Yeah. We've had a few bands start up, and that's really exciting to get in a room with amps and real drums and a PA and loud microphones. And, you can get into rock, like, maybe punk rock or something. It's easy to kind of get into that, power chords and stuff. Yeah. And you know that feeling where you get in that room and everything's loud and it's just like, this is awesome. This is power, And so, sports, we've had a number of that.
Yeah, I love that. And like sports, you think of team sports, but we both have played in bands for many years, and like that was our lives for a while. Yeah. I can't think of anything more collaborative in teaching teamwork than showing where you fit inside a song with other musicians. Yes, team sports does that as well, but man, to play your part, even if it's small, for me, bass or backup, you don't have to be the star. You don't have to be the Michael Jordan.
You're a piece of the pie.
Oh man. And to hear it back and to record it and to create it there's almost nothing like it. And I think it's one of the best teachers of team building and adding value at any level and doing your best, even if it's a small part.
Yeah. And so this summer we'll do some groups like that. I've got a number of 11th graders that I'm going to do, and then a number of like 12th graders. Now that I've been doing this a number of years, it's like I've got a pretty good number of little groups that I'm like, oh, I want to see these kids together, and I want to see these kids together. Awesome. And some of them have come every summer to these kind of like rock camps, if you will. Yeah. And that's going to be a lot of fun. I really enjoy that in the summers.
That's exciting.
We'll be doing that.
Hey, thanks for sharing that. Just any final things you want to share with us, either. And I want you to plug your website too, so we can go and look at it, and we'll put that in the show notes too. But any final thoughts to share with us around encouragement or leadership right now?
I don't know. Just to talk about music, I guess. Music is something that you can do as a kid, and it helps you relax and be calm. And it's something that the greatest part is you can take it into adulthood, and it still is the most positive thing that you can do. So, if you've thought about playing an instrument, you don't have to call me or anything, but just pick up your guitar, man. I mean, most people have one in the closet somewhere. Get it out and have fun, and it's never too late,
Right.
But as far as an entrepreneurship goes, you just have to be creative. Look for those different ways of thinking. You have to be open-minded, and I guess that's it.
Yeah. Thanks, Jacob. Tell us your website.
InsideOutNWA.com. So InsideOutNWA, like NorthwestArkansas.com, or Facebook.com/InsideOutNWA.
Awesome.
As well.
Thanks,
yeah,
Jacob.
for sure.
Look forward to seeing the next great things you're doing. I love the music and the taking the arts with the kids. Actually, you guys do other art programs too, right? I've seen art featured, and
we do some stuff. Yeah. We'll feature different schools, elementary schools and high schools from around the area, and just kind of give those kids a little spotlight with art, and kind of advocate for the art teachers from around here throughout the year.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the confidence and the development that you see out beyond just their musical ability, I'm sure is evident. You could probably tell many stories about that. Man, Jacob, thanks again for being with us. I look forward to seeing the next great things you guys are doing.
Thanks so much for having me on. Thanks, Derek. Hi, I'm Jacob.
And I'm Sarah, and we want to welcome you to Inside Out Studios.
We can't wait for you to experience the iOS difference.
You already lost it. That's messing me up. Ah, it's all good. You already lost it. All right, let's do that.
Well, my name is Summer Beal, and I've been coming to Inside Out Studio for about a year now. And I really enjoy coming here because it pushes me outside of my comfort zone with my songwriting, and it's taught me how to be a better musician in a lot of ways, and it's given me a really great outlet for my music.
We've come to realize that music is one of the most incredible and personally rewarding life skills a person can develop.
Another thing that I love about Inside Out is that it doesn't matter really how old you are, how young you are, there is a space for everyone here. I love that there are so many opportunities right here in our hometown.
I like everything about Inside Out Studios.
I love the vibes here. It's such a family environment.
You're never discouraged, you're always built up and encouraged to keep working.
It really makes me feel like I can do this.
They encourage you, they help you, they tell you that you're good, you're doing great, stuff like that.
It's really chill. I feel very comfortable. From the first time I came in here, I was super nervous, but my teacher was very, very nice, and I just instantly felt very comfortable.
I've been taking lessons here for about 7 years. I take guitar lessons. I've got ADD, so it's definitely hard for me, but I can find my way to understand it. He teaches it clearly to where everyone can understand. I just really enjoy it here.
He started out taking guitar, now he's been working on vocals. He's been performing in talent shows because he's more confident.
What I've noticed over that 7-year period of time is that it doesn't just end with a 30-minute lesson once a week.
Through artist development at iOS, students learn to expand their talents and gain confidence in a therapeutic, positive environment.
Inside Out Studios is a great place to learn if you're trying to learn a new instrument or if you're trying to further your music into recording or songwriting, and it's overall just a really great place to be.
Because we work with each student individually, we're able to develop their ability and understanding, starting with who they are, their interests, learning styles, age, and personal goals.
I definitely can now do a lot of the other things that I couldn't really do before because of Inside Out. I have gained a lot of confidence, especially when playing music in front of others.
Through individual lessons, performance opportunities, summer camps, recording and producing, and more, we use music as the tool to teach each student that they are capable of more than they thought possible, and confident to think outside of the box, be expressive, be creative, and most importantly, that it's okay to be yourself.
Yes, Inside Out Studio definitely makes all students feel like they're unique and special. We all have special, unique gifts that God gave us, and so I love how the instructors at Inside Out are able to pull those special things out of each one of their students and really allow the students to flourish in their individual areas.
At Inside Out Studios, we can help take your artist development wherever your creative mind takes you. Welcome to Inside Out Studios.
This is Derek Champagne inviting you to join me every Sunday morning for our Business Leadership Series, where we interview leaders who are making an impact on their worlds.
Really minimize the negative stuff as much as possible.
I love your brand. To me, it's a lifestyle brand that's just very cool.
You have to be the person that is going to poke the most holes in your idea.
And it's sold product in all 50 states. It's got a really cool product. Welcome to the program today. You've done some pretty amazing things. You are in Vegas, Dallas, St. Louis, and Bentonville.
There is going to be that moment where you finally accomplish what you set out to accomplish.